And we are going to move right on to Group B, where we wind down the AFC Asian 2022 World Cup qualifiers tier list. That was fun. Let us move on to Group B. And in Group B, there's Australia, China, Japan, Oman, Saudi Arabia, and Vietnam. This group is a little bit more balanced with Western and Eastern Asian teams mixed in. Let us start with potential debutantes, Vietnam. Football Pharaoh, talk to me.
I have a lot of respect for what Vietnam has done in recent years. They're the current Southeast Asian champions. Against many people's expectations, they made it to the last 8 in the most recent Asian Cup, where they narrowly lost out to eventual finalist Japan in a game that really could have gone either way. They could have ended up being a surprise dark horse semifinalist. 4 years prior, their neighbors, Thailand, made it to this stage. So whenever you see teams from the Southeast Asian region make the latter rounds of qualification, I think that's something you always like to see, because it's indicative of like potentially the growing depth of the Asian Confederation in general. And I do rate their odds against the likes of Oman and China, who's still not yet where they need to be or want to be as a soccer nation. But I think it's a little bit too much to ask for them. And for Vietnam, I think that they will finish at or near the bottom of this group. I just don't know if they have the clout to go through 10 games, especially in a compressed schedule like this due to COVID, against considerably better opposition with the Japanese and the Australians and the Saudis. I have them at visa denied, but it's a very loving visa denied.
Well said. I love it, man. I love it. I also have them in visa denied. I like what they're doing. A very, very progressive nation, very progressive team. They're currently managed by South Korean Park Hang-seo. And they have some really, really good talent in their team. Some guys that I'm very aware of. I may not be able to pronounce their names very, very, very well, but I'm gonna try my hand at it. Win Kong Pham, he's a player that is very, very, he's very full of flair. And I don't know if these guys should be involved. I'm pretty sure they will be involved some way or the other. And there's Win Kung Hai. I think Kung Hai is like that they like to say you got a Vietnamese Messi type player. Mm-hmm. He is that player. So let's see what they do. A lot of the names are very, very similar, and I'll give $1 million in. I have to put myself in debt to anyone who could name me 10 Vietnamese players off the top of their heads. You see what I'm saying? Because it's almost impossible to do. But those 2 players come to mind. They're showing promise, but visa denied. All the best, Vietnam, man. I wish you the best of luck. Their nickname is very very nice as well. The Golden Star Warriors. All the best. Ryan, where do you have him?
I have them at visa denied, but I love the project that they're going under. I think they have some talent coming up in the ranks. They'll do better than Oman in this group, but I think going up against Japan, Australia, and Saudi Arabia, and even China could be the problem. I think they are a team that has some potential, but I think they fall under visa denied for me.
Well said. Oh, man. What did you just say? They'll do better than Oman? Let's talk about Oman right now. Look, Oman, their potential debutants. Oh man. Listen, Football Pharaoh, talk to me about Oman, man.
Oman finished in a very strong second place in the previous round. Qatar, who has already qualified for the World Cup as hosts, they were in the same qualifying group previous round. But even with Qatar's presence and their games not counting, Oman really put a beat down in their group ahead of the likes of India and Afghanistan and Bangladesh. Not the strongest group, but they made a very good and emphatic case that they can't be a side to be overlooked in this round. And you look at Oman in recent competitive fixtures in the last few years. They made the round of 16 in the last Asian Cup. I think they even made it to the final of the most recent Gulf Nations Cup, which off the top of my head, I think they won it. Someone in the
I think
comment
I think
section.
they won. I think they won the previous one. I don't think they won the last one. I think the last one was, I think, Bahrain or Jordan or one of them teams won it, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken. But I could remember them winning one in, I think it was 2018 or 20. I can't remember the year, but they recently won a Gulf Cup title.
Okay.
Definitely.
They've now made it 2 out of 3 appearances in the World Cup qualifying, the final round of Asian. They made it to the same stage back in 2014. They missed out after teasing early on that they could be in contention. I put them actually ahead of the likes of Vietnam and China. I think that they will be a side that will prove to be a tricky outfit for their neighbors, the Saudis, as well. I'm actually interested to see how their clash with the Saudis go, because Oman could potentially play spoiler in this group to somebody. I haven't missed the flight, though.
Well said, well said. They're currently managed by Branko Ivankovic, and Oman is a very gritty team. You mentioned how pragmatic and how tenacious they were when they met up against the likes of Qatar, India, Afghanistan. Even though it wasn't the strongest group, they look good. They look good. Not a lot of standout players, but they play well as a unit. And they say with unity there is strength. So with Oman, however, I have them as missed the flight. I'm not gonna say visa denied, but I have them as missing the flight. So Vietnam, I'm going to put them up there at visa denied, and Oman, I just threw them in here at missed the flight. Sorry, Vietnam. Sorry that I didn't place you, but I got you, man. I got you. So Ryan, talk to me about Oman. Where do you have them?
One, that's the Chinese flag and visa denied. Second of all,
yeah. I made a mistake there. They all have golden stars.
Yeah. I see.
Thank you, though. Thank you.
I got Oman and visa denied. I like their team as the team is a star concept, but in this group, again, against Japan and Australia and Saudi, I think that's going to put a barrier up. Now, they're not going to be pushovers by any sense of the imagination, but again, I think they're a team that'll be on the wrong side of results, and that's what dooms them in my book. I like what they're doing. I like what they're trying to build, but probably more for 2026 with extra spots, with the World Cup getting bigger. If they could keep this going, 2026 is their better chance. But right now, visa denied.
Ryan, that's a great point. The 2026 point is a great point, and I love that you made it. I didn't even have that in mind, though. So, thank you. So we're going to move on to the next team, and that team is China's People Republic. Let us talk about China. Football Pharoah, talk to me about China, who qualified for the 2002 World Cup and have not made it back since. That's their only World Cup appearance ever in their history.
Yeah, and they didn't score a single goal in that World Cup either. They have yet to score a goal at the World Cup finals. I think domestically, within Asian competition, they've done well. They've made it to the quarterfinals and back-to-back Asian Cups, 2015 and 2019. I think that domestically, the Chinese Super League has been exponentially growing. You have clubs like Guangzhou Evergrande and Shanghai SIPG that have won the AFC Champions League on more than one occasion in the last decade or so. The national team, though, I think is very much so still lagging behind, and I don't rate their chances of coming through this group. Maybe this is a little bit harsh on China. I have them at visa denied. I think that Chinese football, national team football, is still very much so developing, even though the sport itself has been growing in popularity in China, it having over a billion people after all. China's a team that's going to benefit from an expanded World Cup format that would come from the 2020s and the 2030s and beyond, I think.
Well said. So they're currently managed by Li Tae, and standout players are Wu Lei. We know how prominent he is. He's had 71 caps. He's plays for Espanyol in Spain. 23 goals for Wu Lei. What I like what China has been doing is incorporating some of these dual nationals like an Elkeson, Allen, and Aloisio. these Brazilian players who came over to play in the Chinese Super League, who not gonna make it in the cutover in Brazil. They give them the opportunity, and I really, really like that. There's some veterans in the team like a Wu Ji, a Huao Junmin, and a Zhang Ling Pen comes to mind. So the team does have a base to build on, and I don't think China is gonna qualify for the World Cup. I have them and miss the flight, but I don't think they're gonna be pushovers in every single game here. This group is gonna be very close in my opinion, but I think China will eventually miss the flight. Ryan, talk to me.
I have China and miss the flight. I think they're going to have some positives throughout this group. They're not going to be pushovers, as you said. I do think that Japan, Australia, and Saudi Arabia will beat them to a certain extent. But China will have their moments, but I think they missed the flight overall.
Well said. Well said. So we're just going to put China right here, and I have them in miss the flight. Put them here. Bam. Miss the flight. Sorry, China. You're not going to Qatar. And we're going to move on. Let us talk about the Saudis here. Let us talk about Saudi Arabia, who qualified in 1994. Were quite impressive. Scored a wonder goal against Belgium in that tournament. They qualified for 1998, 2002. And after a long hiatus, made it back in 2018. Football Pharoah knows and are still having nightmares about the Saudi Arabian national team up to this day. Am I correct with that one?
Oh yeah, well, don't remind me that late goal in stoppage time again in the World Cup that made us finish on 0 points. Deservedly finish on 0 points for Egypt. This is a horrible performance. But I have Saudi Arabia on standby. They are West Asian almost regulars at this World Cup ever since they emerged on the scene in 1994. They've made it to, I believe, 6 out of 8 World Cups. They missed out in 2010, 2014. They came through their group in the previous round ahead of Uzbekistan with relative comfort, I would say. I think that this group is really... The reason why I like Group A more is because I think it's more well-rounded. This group, I think, has 3 obvious favorites with Japan, Australia, and Saudi Arabia, and I think that they could finish in either combination in either order. I think Saudi Arabia, for them, anything lower than a playoff spot would be considered a complete disaster, obviously, because they would fail to qualify. I have them on standby. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised for them to make it back to the World Cup. You know, they don't want to miss a World Cup hosted in Qatar. They would have so many blushes if they did. So yeah, I have them on standby just because I think Australia and Japan, I rate them a little bit higher.
Well said, well said, well said. And Football Fair, I think you failed to mention one big fact. The manager, Hervé Renard, a national team extraordinaire, somehow managed to get himself out of Africa. I don't know how he managed to pull that one off, but he is no longer managing an African team. So I think with him at their helm could actually help them to get through these very, very tough qualifiers. But as you said, look, they're a little down the pecking order behind Japan and Australia, in my opinion. Even though Australia did have to go through qualify, and I don't think Australia in the best shape or form, but Saudi Arabia are not a team that I could put all my money on and say, yes, for sure, I know that they're going to qualify for Qatar 2022. I cannot put my money on them at all. They still have some very talented players in their team still around the squad, like a Fahad Al-Muwallad, a Salman Al-Faraj, Salim Al-Dosari, who I think is their best player right now. And they could do something. Yasser Al-Sharani comes to mind. I really love that fullback, his hair and everything. He's just very fast and very slick. And I have them on standby. I'm not fully convinced, so I have them on standby.
Same, yeah.
Ryan, where do you have him?
Yes, I have Saudi Arabia on standby as well. I think they finished 3rd in this group. They will go to the Intercontinental playoff, or the playoff in AFC, and then play for the Intercontinental playoff. I should say the AFC playoff. I like Saudi Arabia. They do have talent. They do have a project, and they can get results against Australia and Japan, and maybe possibly finish top two. But I feel like they're a playoff level third place team. They are the third best on paper right now. I say they are on standby and they finish third and go to the AFC playoff.
Well said, well said, well said. And we're gonna keep things going. We're gonna keep the ball rolling. We have 2 more to finish off this marathon session that we have done. And let us talk about Aussie, oh yo 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 yo, the Socceroos, who were part of the OFC. I was actually doing a little research for the OFC because we were going to talk about the OFC, and it's a good thing that we actually scrapped that one until maybe around Christmas time because the format isn't even out yet. Fixtures aren't out, and that one is still pending. So Australia, they have gone through a lot of playoffs and things. They first qualified in 1974, 2006, and after 2006, they actually switched from the AFC, the OFC to the AFC in 2006, but they had already gone through the playoffs in OFC. They had already gone through qualifiers in OFC during the whole process of switching. So since they switched to the AFC, they have qualified in 2010, 2014, and 2018, which shows continuity and which shows that this team has a lot of quality. And even though I don't think they have the best team right now comparing to the 2006 team where you had Viduka and Cahill and Bresciano and Co and Harry Kuehl and the list goes on, I think they're still a very, very able unit. And they're a tricky team to analyze, seeing that they're not going to blow teams away. But I think they know how to get the results. I really think they know how to get the results. Football Pharaoh, talk to me about Australia before I give you where I have them.
I like the way they look, actually. It is a far cry away from that 06 team, but let's be honest, no Australian side since then has been able to replicate that team who made it to the second round of the World Cup in Germany that summer. I think they're going to go to Qatar. They completely lambasted every team in the opposition in the previous round. Granted, Chinese Taipei and Nepal are not the strongest opponents, but I think this time around there's so much familiarity with Japan and Saudi Arabia. They were in the same exact qualifying group last time where they were sent to the playoff. I think they'll do one step better this time, get the job done earlier and qualify directly, possibly in second position. They have a decent players in the team. Awer Mabil, 25 years old. He's got 4 goals for his country. He plays in the Danish league. They still have guys they can call upon like Jackson Irvine. He plays in Germany. They still have Tom Rogic. They had a few retirees after the last World Cup, but there's still some guys there that are veterans that are still part of this team, like Trent Sainsbury. He's there. Ryan McGowan. Those are
Aaron Moy, Milos Deginek. These guys, they still have a very talented squad. And one player I have to definitely talk about is Riley McGree. This player, talented player. Daniel Arzani, Man City's very own Daniel Arzani, looked really good at the last World Cup. I think he did not develop like we thought he would have developed. But they still have very, very good team. And also Aziz Behic still around and Matt Ryan in goal.
Sorry, I was gonna say I forgot to mention, and Graham Arnold, their manager. He's not only the manager of this team, he's actually the manager of the Socceroos under-23 side, who played in the Olympics earlier this summer. They pulled off a shock upset against Argentina. So this is a coach. This is actually his second stint in charge of Australia. He coached them once back, I think, in 08, 09. He has a very intimate knowledge of the younger players coming in through too. So yeah, he's managers of both squad, the youth team and the main Socceroo squad.
So for me, I have Australia going to Qatar. I'm convinced that they're going to make it again, and that will be qualifying for 4 straight World Cups. That's not 4. That is 5 straight World Cups. That is impressive.
Yep.
That is impressive, man. You see what I mean? And I think they made the right switch. I think switching to the AFC actually helped them stay on top of their game, where they're playing tougher opponents and not blowing away your Tahitis and your New Caledonias and your Papua and, you know, the Vanuatu. New Zealand was the only team really giving them a run for their money over in the OFC. So it was a 2-horse race over there. Ryan, what do you have him?
I have Australia going to Qatar. They're always a good team. They have good youth coming through. They did well at the Olympics. That youth should easily be a shot in the arm for Australia. I have Australia finishing second in Group B and going to Qatar. I wouldn't say easily, but they'll find their way. They'll push through and they'll get second and go to Qatar.
Well, we all agree then. All three of us have them going to Qatar.
We've been on the money, like all of us. We did not have a meeting before this and say, yeah, let's all put us the same teams, but we have all been basically agreeing on the same thing for all the teams. I've realized that, and we have one more, and I think we're gonna all agree on this one because listen, man, let's talk about Japan. Let us talk about Samurai Blue. Currently coached by Hajime Moriyasu, the man who was in charge at the 2018 World Cup, and they were quite impressive. Oh man, if it wasn't for that very good Belgium team, Japan could have gotten further in at the World Cup. Look, they made their debut with Jamaica, same group, back in 1998, and they have qualified for every World Cup since then. I can't see them missing out. Japan are so stacked. It makes me think about a triple stack of pancakes with some Canadian maple syrup on it right now. But look, they're so stacked up. It's not even funny, man. You see what I mean? They could put out could put out two teams. Remember that second string team they sent to the Copa America in 2019? And actually give these South American teams a really good run for their money. I love this team, man. I love this team with you know, Gonda, Kawashima sharing the goalkeeping burden there. Yuto Nagatomo still around. 100 caps. Maya Yoshida, Sakai, Tomiyasu coming through. Very young player in the rumors to be moving to big clubs. That could go, you know, Minamino playing well. Ritsu Doan. We remember how well this team was in 2019, the 2019 Asian Cup, where they thought they were going to cruise to the win until they met Qatar as well. Daishi Kamada doing the business over the last couple of seasons for Eintracht Frankfurt here. And look, the list goes on, man. Takumi Minamino, man. Look. Takefusa Kubo. Oh, man. Lovely team. They're going to Qatar, in my opinion. First class. Air Japan. Football Pharaoh, talk to me here. As a matter of fact, Ryan Anderson, talk to me about Japan. I'll let Football Pharaoh do the honors because I know he has something really nice to end this one with. Ryan, talk to me.
You think so?
Yeah, I know you do. Konnichiwa.
Qatar. They're going to Qatar. Ichiban. Number one, Ichiban. Japan. They're going to Qatar, easily finishing top of Group B. I think it's pretty much elementary at this point. And yes, Japan is my favorite Asian team. Little bit of a story. My mom lived there while she was in high school for 4 years. So I have sort of ties to Japan, and I know the language. So if they make the World Cup, when I cover it, I could speak to them in Japanese and I'll sound okay. So it is what it is. But I like Japan. They're going to the Qatar. They're great. They have lots of talent, young and veteran. It's easy. First class, honestly business. Close the curtain. Just chill until you get there. You're through.
I actually think Japan should start setting up camp in Qatar already.
Honestly,
you know what I'm saying? Just set up camp somewhere, find the place you want to train, start sending some youngsters over there to condition because they're going. Football Pharaoh, finish things off for us on this marathon stream talking about
Well,
World Cup qualifiers. Talk to me.
as you know, Japan, ever since they debuted in '98, they've been in every other World Cup type of team. They got past the group stage, they don't get past. They got past, they don't get past. Literally like that, like clockwork. And this time, with this generation of players they have, similar to how what the U.S. is going through, this is the most in-depth Japanese squad possibly ever. They want to make it to a repeat successive knockout stage appearance in a World Cup, possibly even go one step further into the quarterfinals when the World Cup returns to Asian soil next year. And they really could have done it back in Russia. You alluded to the loss in Belgium where they capitulated and gave up a 2-0 lead after 51 minutes. They will always be constantly kicking themselves for that, feeling that they should have gone one step further and played Brazil in that quarterfinals. And in addition to the youngsters that you mentioned coming through for Japan, they still have a decent amount of veteranship on this squad. Guys like Yuto Nakatomo, they still have Yuya Osaka, Genki Haraguchi. And like I mentioned with Graham Arnold for Australia, having been being manager of both the senior men's Australian team and the under 23 youth Australian team, manager Hajime Moriyasu also fills that role for Japan. He was at the Tokyo Olympics just a few weeks ago, right there on the sidelines, guiding his Japanese squad on home soil to a 4th place finish at the Olympics. Japan, they should be going to Qatar. They're one of the safe teams, in my opinion, outside of Europe, that are a non-powerhouse footballing nation that you should already book them as on that flight. They should go. They should finish top of this group, and I would look for them to make a really, really big statement next year, rather.
Well said, man. Well said. One of my most recent favorite footballer from Japan is Kisuke Honda. I can't remember which World Cup he scored a spectacular. I think it was an '06 World Cup, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, he scored a spectacular goal. I almost lost my freaking mind, man. You know what I mean? And he recently went into management as well, unsuccessful, but still. And I think there was a player by the name of Nakata. Can't remember his. Yeah, man. Oh,
Hidetoshi Nakata. Yeah.
Yeah, boy. He actually has a legendary card in FIFA Ultimate Team, which means that people hold him to high regard. But we could all agree that Japan is going to Qatar. But that's Group A and Group B of let's say the final round before the playoff round of Asian World Cup qualifiers for Qatar 2022. This has been lovely. I feel so good that we've accomplished this. Football Pharoah and I, along with Ryan Anderson, we added to the panel. But Football Pharoah, bro, just to talk about this before we end to the stream.
What's up?
Africa, oh man, Europe, CONCACAF, CONMEBOL, and now Asia. We have done it. We have done it. And guys, just take 5 seconds to give yourself a round of applause. A round of applause. Come on. Yeah, man. Yeah. This was fun. This was fun. And for the people watching and for you guys who follow the entire series, I like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Do appreciate it. Football Pharoah, I couldn't have done it without you. I'm telling you, if I did this by myself, it would have been a snooze fest. It would have been sedative stuff. But you made it so much better. Ryan, it was nice adding you to the panel today just to add another opinion, another perspective, and just to give the people something different, man. And I really appreciate you coming on. Hopefully we could do something in the future as well. We could come back and we could talk about these results. You know, that would be something really, really nice if we could find somebody else to add to the panel as well. We could keep growing the thing, so when the World Cup comes around, there'll be about 10 of us in here. You see what I'm saying? So that'll be awesome. So guys, look, man, it was a pleasure. All the links to Football Pharoah's channel and Ryan's channel will be in the description box down below. Guys, you want to say your farewells before we go? Ryan?
Thank you for having me on here. This was a giant honor. I'm happy to be here. And I hope y'all enjoyed the energy. If you love this, check out my channel because this was one of the most fun things I've done. I've been doing a lot the past couple of days and I'm busy, but it's fun to do this. It's fun and I'm proud to be here. It's a giant honor. to be on one of the biggest channels in CONCACAF and one of the growing ones in world football. So happy to be here. It was fun. Go check me out on my YouTube channel. Search up Ryan Arison or click the link. Find my Twitter, Ryan_Arison_27. Instagram or TikTok, just change that underscore to a period, and then we're good. So follow me, find my content. You'll enjoy it, I'm sure, with all the energy, and keep on keeping on, because we've got some good things ahead for all of us.
Well said. Well said. Football Pharaoh, talk to me.
Hey, well, this was a marathon indeed, but it was a very fruitful one. I'm hopefully that everybody enjoyed it, and I hope you guys got to the end of this video. You're all soldiers as well. It was nice to meet you, Ryan, and to work with you, and Dom, as always, to work with you as well. Yeah, you guys can find me, my YouTube channel, Football Pharaoh, same name. Twitter as well, Football Pharaoh, at Soccer Pharaoh. That's at Soccer Bottom Score Pharaoh.
Well said. So from Ryan Anderson, Football Pharaoh, Dominic Rich, like I said, thanks for watching. Subscribe to all channels if you're new. Like the video if you like it. Play the tier list. It's in the description box down below. Leave a comment with your predictions. All the best to all the teams. And until next time, like to say, thanks for watching. Peace out. Rich Squad.
Peace.
Peace. All right, guys. Oh, man. Thank you very much. That was awesome. God damn.